Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems for GRE out of this book here, practicing to take the GRE general test, the 10th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase it immediately. The problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you're going to find on page number 265 in the 10th edition that I just showed you right here, hence the 10E. Page 265, the very first question, question number 1. There are 15 questions here. This is the old-fashioned paper and pencil exam. They were arranged in the order of difficulty. There are 15 of them. This is number 1 on a scale of 1 to 15. This is a very easy one. 82% of the people who took the exam got it right. Let's see what's going on here. They're asking you to compare this quantity, 3,960 divided by 65 versus 60. Now, just because it's the easy question, as I said, and just because 82% of the people got it right, that does not necessarily mean that they did it in a more sufficient manner, these questions. What a lot of people end up doing is they actually end up sitting there and dividing the quantity, which will take you a little bit of time. I'm going to show you a quicker way. Let me do a couple of questions here on the side here. Say, for example, 415 divided by 7. I'm going to come to this question in a second here. Let's keep these questions in abeyance. If you don't know, look up the word and learn it. A, B, E, Y, A, N, C, E. Let's keep it in abeyance. We'll work on this for a second. Well, the simplest and the quickest way to take care of this problem is to multiply both sides. Think of these as two-sided equations. Think of these as two-sided equations. So if I were to take this side and multiply by 6, and I can do anything that I want with this side as long as I do it the same thing with that side. So if I multiply this side by 6 and that side by 6, immediately you can see there that this 6 cancels out with this 6, and basically what I'm comparing is 415 versus 70 times 6. I know 7 times 6 is 42, so this is 420. Hence this quantity is bigger. That's all. You don't actually have to sit there and waste your time dividing this quantity. Anybody can do that. These questions are called, well, I forgot to put it here. Let's put it right now. Quantitative comparison. These are called quantitative comparison. These are not called these questions are not called quantitative computations. You're not supposed to sit there and actually compute the bloody thing. That will take forever. Let's do one more question. Let's do one more. I don't want to take too much time. I want to get to this thing. Let's do one more. If you wanted to compare 93 divided by 4 versus 24, again the same trick. Instead of wasting my time dividing 93 by 4 and figuring out the exact value there, take the two sides, multiply it by 4. This cancels out. So basically I'm comparing 93 versus 24 times 4. 24 times 4, I know 20 times 4 is 80, and 4 times 4 is 16, so it should be 96. 96 versus 93, as you can see, this quantity is bigger. Let's do one more. 5 over 7 versus 4 over 5. Now here what you want to do is, technically what you're doing is, let me do this question over here. Let me do this in a traditional way, and then I'm going to show you the same thing except a little bit quicker way. Traditionally, of course, you will take the common denominator, and then what you'll end up here is you will end up common denominator being 35, and you will say 35 goes into 7 how many times? It goes into 5 times, and you end up there, and 35 goes into 5 how many times? 7 times, and you end up like this. Obviously. Now here's a quicker way. What I'm about to do is exactly the same thing what I just described, which is finding the common denominator. But I'm not going to actually call it finding the common denominator, and therefore we're going to do it in a little bit unorthodox way. which will save you 2 seconds. Here's what you do. Just cross multiply. 5 times 5 is 25, and 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times, you follow the arrow. You start from the bottom, you go to the top, and it comes over here. You follow the arrow. Start from the bottom, go to the top, comes over here. And forget about the last part. That's it. Which one is bigger, 25 or 28? Of course 28 is bigger. The answer is this. So that's what you have to do there. Just multiply it. 25 and 28. Voila, this is bigger. This side is bigger. Alright? Now, let's do the questions that they give us. Let's do the questions that they give us. Or perhaps I'll do 2 more. Perhaps I'll do 2 more very, very quickly. 3097 divided by 5 versus 599. Again, I could sit there and do it out, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to, basically we're doing the same thing now, except underneath here is 1, you see? Basically we're doing the same thing, 5, this times that, and this times that, but this amount times 1 is just a number itself, 797. So again, if you want to look at it this way, or you can say that you're taking the both sides, and multiplying by 5. It's the same exact thing. It is exact same thing. So I know 600 times 5 would be 3000. So this is going to be 5 less than 3000. Well, actually, it doesn't. I don't even have to figure. I don't even have to waste my time doing it out, because 600 times 5 is 3000. So whatever the hell this quantity is, it's going to be less than 3000. And here I got 3097. The answer is this thing. What this thing actually is pointless here. I'm not supposed to compare them. Let's do one last one, and before I do the problem. Let's do the one last one. Where should we do it? Let's do it here. 35 times 3, 35 over 3 versus 23 over 2. Again, this times this, 23 times 3, 20 times 3 is 60, times 3 times 3 is 9, so it's 69, and 35 twice of that is 70, so this quantity is bigger. Just slightly bigger, that's all. We're going to do the same thing here. This times this, 60 times 65, well, let's see. 60 times 60 is 3600. 30. There you go. I should have known that right away, of course. 60 times 6 times 6 is 36, and then 6 times 5 is going to be 30 again. So 60 times 60 is 3600, and 60 times 5 is 300. So this times this, which is same as 60 times 60, and 60 times 5. This is 300, and this is 3600. 3900, here we got 3960, so this quantity is bigger. That's all. We're done with number 1. Let's take a look at number 2. Let me look at the clock in the back, see how much time I have. I have taken 9 minutes into it, so I don't have too much time to do question number 2. So let's quickly take care of it. Question number 2, there is not much you can do there. They're telling you that team X scored 10 points in the first half of the game. So here's your X, here's your Y, here's your first half, here's your second half. We're telling you that team X scored 10 points in the first half of the second game, first half of a certain game, but they're not telling you what Y scored. Then they tell you that in the second half of the game, team Y scored 15 points more than, so whatever team X scored here, Y scored 15 points more than that, which is fine. Again, we do not know what either of the teams scored in second half, but the important part is they want you to compare the number of points that are scored by team X in the first half, which we know was 10, versus the number of points that was scored by team Y in the first half, which we know nothing about. We know nothing about. So the answer is D. That's all. I hope you found it I hope you found it helpful. If you wish to get hold of me for personal private tutoring, face-to-face tutoring or online tutoring, go to my website at www.for4gre.com and send me an email and we'll talk. Thank you.